when we decided to do the water, I mean, it took us 2 years to actually develop the water that we were going to put out to the world, because we wanted to make sure that we did not, skip any steps.
Yeah.
Like, we wanted the purest, best water we
And
could.
water is pretty intimate. It's like food,
bro. It is. And people
how much
don't
percent
realize
of you? 70% of you?
how hard it is to make water, like good, pure water.
Yeah.
It's actually very hard. That tastes good. Like,
I mean, talk to me a little bit more about that process. I mean, the 2-year process, going through everything. Like, what made you decide on this water? And like, I'm not even trying to plug this in, but like I said to you, I'm like, I love the level of carbonation in this water, because this is perfect for me. Yeah.
It was very intentional. Like I said, I wanted like an everyday sparkling, that you could pound while you're working out or just at the beach or whatever. And shout out to all the sparkling waters, because I love sparkling water. But I think for me, most of the sparklings out there, I find to be like good at fine dining and like, after you take a sip of wine and then kind of,
refresh
helping your palate. Exactly. So I wanted something different. But as far as the water goes, like when we came up with the idea and we knew we were going to do it, it's really interesting how, like, I always believe that if you're, again, to your point earlier, if you're doing the right thing and you're being intentional, then life has a way of bringing you the right people too in your life, because of the way you're just doing things. And so we had this moment where someone actually introduced us to a guy that was doing water for Pepsi in Venezuela. And I guess if you can do water in Venezuela, you can do water anywhere, right?
Correct.
And he was kind of like one of these water nerds. And he had this whole setup in Pembroke Pines. He actually developed his whole reverse osmosis system himself. And it was like a container ship. And he was explaining to us how it all works. And he had very, very broken English, and it was hard to understand him. But he was just a phenomenal guy. And it was really, in the beginning, it was like crafting beer. Like it was it was a process of like adding a little calcium here, adding a little potassium here. Like it's literally like, and you dump it in the tank and like, and then you go through this process of taste testing. Then you do blind taste testing, and then you put your water, you put your Evians, your Smart Water, your Saratogas, you put the waters out there, and then and do blind taste testing. And we kept doing it. And then one day when we felt like we really had the formula, we did this blind taste test, and I'll never forget it, because our water was number 2. And about 16 people, number 2. And it was like a chill, chills going up your line. Like they're picking
that validation.
They're picking our water. They're picking our water. And we just knew, okay, this is it. But to your point, we're still trying to improve that. Like we're still, seeing, are there ways we can make it even better? And we're still going through this process. But now we've upgraded to a co-packing facility in North Carolina. So now the water is coming from the mountains of North Carolina into Lake Norman, I believe it is, into this 7-step reverse osmosis process. And one of the things we found is that if you really think about premium waters today, right? Yeah. Premium water today mostly is coming from mountains, springs, Iceland, icebergs, all this stuff, right? Well, unfortunately, our world is being contaminated. Our world is being polluted. So the days of pure natural water are coming to an end. Yeah. So I really believe that we're going to be we are the first process of, making a reverse osmosis process water, premium water. Yeah. And I think we're doing it at a very high level. And so it goes through this 7-step reverse osmosis process. It's hit with tonal pasteurization. It's hit with ultraviolet light. It's literally taking all the impurities out of it, all the metals, the microplastics, the PFAS, like all this stuff that's in our water. You would be, it's crazy of what's in our water, right? And then that's where the proprietary blend of essential minerals go back in the water for the function and taste. Nice. And that's why you have such a soft, like our still has such a soft mouthfeel with really absolutely no aftertaste. Yeah. And that's the thing that I love about our water. Zero aftertaste. When you drink out of a plastic bottle, it's really gross. And I would say this, like the only way to really know how good our water is to drink it for about a month only. and then try to go back and drink other waters.
Well, I'm actually a little bit of a water nerd myself.
Okay, all
you
right.
know, and when I was in college, you know, my friends can attest, you know, I would have the 5-gallon, you know, kind of container. I'd take it to Whole Foods, I'd take it to other places and fill up my, you know, reverse osmosis water.
Yeah.
You know, 5 gallons, because I'm like, I'm not drinking from Tallahassee water faucets and things like that. So I've always been, you know, very knowledgeable about that, you know, those type of things. So I think it's incredible that you guys are focusing on those details, because there is a lot of misinformation out there.
Oh, there's
right?
so much.
Of, like,
Even our cans, like
Yeah.
everybody's been kind of like attacking us on social media that saying that our cans are lined in plastic. And we actually pay more money for these cans that do not have the plastic lining.
Well, that's why I actually prefer to drink out of a can, because I found out that every plastic bottle, every single one, has microplastics of some kind.
Here's something crazy.
Yeah.
That we've learned. Anything that touches plastic has plastic in it.
Correct.
Anything.
Yeah. And
Which is scary.
I know, even for us, like we've changed our cutting boards to wooden cutting boards and like different things in our restaurants because of microplastics.
Right.
And, you know, they don't have any new industry standards for commercial cooking. So we're going through cutting boards like crazy, you know, because eventually wooden cutting boards get gross.
Right.
So, but for me, I found out with water bottles specifically, you know, they're marketing, a lot of these companies, they market BPA free.
Yeah.
There's another thing called like BPAB or something like that. There's another form of BPA
Right.
that's still in that bottle.
Yep.
That is just as harmful as BPA.
Yep.
And I remember listening to this and I was like, oh my God, they even tricked me.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't even realize that.
Well, it's like when the Big Crave came out with the cardboard water stuff.
Yeah.
You know, all that's BS too.
Yeah. But like the thing is this, is that they're always finding something, whether it's in water bottles, plastics, or even in food. You know, it's like when someone's grabbing something that's sugar free. I'm like, they're probably
yeah, exactly.
I always tell people, I'm like, if you taste it and you taste the sweet sensation in your mouth,
right,
there is something sort of sugar in there.
Exactly.
Some sort of, and like I took organic chemistry and biochemistry, so I learned these things of like, it ends in OSE, and then they try to change the molecular structure of sugar, and they will create these other things, the sucralose versus dextrose and all, and sucrose and fructose. Like, so for me, like I have the knowledge, I've learned about all the deceptive things that companies do out there, and I feel bad for consumers because they literally are just not. They don't know.
Right.
They think they read the label, it says sugar free, and they're like, oh, this is good for me, and I'm like, you're better off having the real thing than putting these other chemicals, you know, into you. But we live, unfortunately, you know, in a very toxic society when it comes to food and beverage in the U.S., and especially with how food and everything is being governed.
For sure. And I think both of us are heading in. This is another thing that I just feel very strongly about with the new administration, with RFK coming out.
Absolutely.
We're heading into this truly, and COVID did this too, 2020 did this too. There's a heightened sense of awareness of health now, and people are finally paying attention to what they're putting into their bodies, and it's only increasing with time. That's why I love conversations like this, so we can start educating people on the importance of healthy food, being in community, getting into the gym, drinking good water. Like, all this stuff is so important. I think we're about to ride the wave of health.
Absolutely.
And so you're positioned extremely well. I'm positioned extremely well. And I can't wait for us to grow.
Well, I mean, people have to support brands that they know actually give an F about them.
Exactly.
You know, and that's a difference. You know, for me, my happiest moments have been when I'm helping people, not when, oh my God, I bought something for myself. You know, like for me, like, you mature out of that pretty quickly in business.
You always feel better giving. Always.
Giving. It's like it fills your heart up. And and I'll tell you, I had a customer the other day call me from Jacksonville, and my manager said, "Hey, this customer really wants to talk to you." I was like, "Sure, I'll answer it." You know, I was having an awful day. For the record, like
it always happens like that.
Yeah, I'm having an awful day.
You get the DM, that like long DM.
Yeah, I'm like,
oh God. And
you know, I'm talking to her. I'm like, hey, how can I help you? And she's like, I have to tell you something. And I was like, oh God, like what is she about to tell me? She's like, I have eaten at your restaurant 35 days in a row.
Oh wow.
And I was like, okay. I was like, and she's like, your restaurant has made an unbelievable amount of impact in my life. I suffer from Crohn's disease.
Oh, wow.
I cannot go and eat at any normal restaurant. And she's
Such
like,
a sensitive
she's like,
disease.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
with eating.
And she said, she's like, you've made me feel like I can live a normal life again.
Wow.
Going out with
That's
my friends.
Massive compliment.
Yeah.
Massive.
I was just like, oh my God. This
Sure,
is
that made your day
incredible.
better.
Yeah. I was like, okay, passion. Let's go. Turn on.
Yeah.
And I told her, I was like, my promise to you is that we're going to make the company even better. And thank you so much for trusting us. And I'm so happy that you feel incredible after eating our food.
Yep.
And we'll allow her to, we do customizations for our customers. We accommodate every dietary restriction because we want everyone to come into our restaurants feeling welcome. I don't care if you're a meat and potatoes guy, you're a vegan, you're so on and so forth, whatever background you come from, you're welcome at Vale, because for us, when people think of healthy food, they think of a bad stigma of like, oh, it's expensive, it doesn't have variety, it doesn't taste good,
right?
And they think of these cons, And for me, I thought about it, and I told my team actually recently at our company summit, I said, we're feeding the 99%. We're not feeding the 1%. And I keep that in mind because I don't want people to come to our restaurants and be like, oh, I can't eat this because I'm priced out. We have price options for everyone who comes into our restaurant. Whether you want to spend, $10 or $30 per meal, you can get something for you. But we're feeding the 99%. And when I go to my restaurants around the state of Florida, I see a melting pot of people in my restaurants. In Jacksonville, I see construction workers, I see students, I see elderly, I see everyone in our restaurants, and we're creating these micro communities. But I realize we can really make a difference in America by really feeding the 99% and making health accessible.
I've been asking this to a lot of guests, and I kind of enjoy the person like kind of thinking about this. So if you had one thing that you wish people knew about you that they don't, what would that be?
Man, that's a tough one.
Right? And I'm telling you, like when someone asks me that, it's like interesting, right? So
I live, breathe, and I really eat, sleep this lifestyle. It's like every aspect of what we're doing matters to me. And I've been doing it over a long time horizon. Even when I pre-business, I was always passionate about nutrition. I went to high school. I was a state wrestler. I was always had to be dialed into my nutrition, my diet to make weight and certain things. So at an early age, like I've always been passionate about this. And for me, it's that my organization, not just myself, I have incredible people that are working at Vale who are so committed of making the brand better every single day. And for us, that's our promise. Ultimately is that at the end of this year, we're going to be 10 times better a company than we were in the beginning of this year. And that is absolutely aligned with every person on our team at a store level as well. And we're really one of those brands that we're going to do some really incredible things, not because it's cool, not because it's going to make us money. It's because it's the right thing. And it's because for us, nutrition is intimate, just like water, right?
Right.
For me, like your food, how you're helping someone live and lead a healthy lifestyle, to me, that is way more fulfilling to me than doing, something for money, alone.
And there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that.
And the biggest thing is that I'm not on this earth forever. You're not on this earth forever.
Right.
We're all temporary here. So for me, I want to make a massive impact. I want to actually help the earth. I know that's crazy to say.
I love that.
But for me, we're servicing a state.
Right.
We're feeding a state. We were initially feeding a community. Now it's a state. Then the next level is, okay, let's feed a region of the state. Let's feed the U.S. Then I want to make an impact. I personally believe the concept is great and it can be international. But right now we're hyper-focused on the U.S. And my end game, big picture is I want to create some sort of impact for global hunger.
Amazing.
I want to really help that out because I travel around the world. I go around the world looking for new flavors and foods to bring into Vale. And it breaks my heart when I go to certain countries and I see the level of, the disparity of poverty. There's countries that I've gone to that 50% of the population is starving. And for me, it breaks my heart because everyone is deserving of a meal. Definitely. Everyone should be deserving of clean water.
Right.
For me, so if I can make an impact on that, to me, I've lived a great life.
Mic drop. Thank you, Sunny.